You're about to die right now just by sitting there. No accidents, no diseases, just pure, slow-motion damage. Your doctor knows it, but you don't. Stop what you're doing, save yourself, and watch until the end for the solution. Fact number 1. Loneliness is physically more deadly than obesity. This one is going to hit differently for a lot of people watching. In 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General released an official advisory declaring loneliness a public health epidemic in America. Not a mental health issue, not a social problem, a physical health crisis. Here's what the research actually shows. Chronic loneliness, feeling disconnected, isolated, like nobody really knows you, increases your risk of early death by 26%. Some studies put it even higher. To put that in perspective, that's a bigger risk factor than obesity. It's comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And here's why. Loneliness triggers your body's stress response. Chronically, constantly. Your cortisol levels stay elevated. Your inflammation goes up. Your immune system gets weaker. Your heart works harder. Your sleep gets worse. Your blood pressure rises. Your body interprets loneliness as danger. Evolutionarily, being separated from your group meant you might die. So your nervous system treats it like an emergency every single day. Over 50% of American adults report feeling lonely regularly. That is not a personal failure. That is a health crisis wearing a social mask. If you are lonely, please understand this. It is not a weakness. It is not something to be ashamed of. And it is genuinely physically affecting your health in ways just as serious as what you eat or how much you exercise. Connection is not a luxury. It is medicine. Fact number 2. Your immune system has a memory that can last a lifetime. We talk a lot about brain memory. We don't talk nearly enough about immune memory, and it might actually be more impressive. When your immune system encounters a virus or bacteria and fights it off, it doesn't just forget about it. It creates specialized memory cells, called memory B cells and memory T cells, that can survive in your body for decades. Some research suggests certain immune memories can last an entire lifetime. These memory cells remember the exact shape of the threat. And if that same threat shows up again, even 40 years later, your immune system recognizes it, responds instantly, and often destroys it before you feel a single symptom. You have fought off thousands of threats in your lifetime, and your immune system quietly filed away the details of every single one. Scientists studying survivors of the 1918 Spanish flu, one of the deadliest pandemics in history, found immune memory cells that were still functional and reactive to that specific flu strain 90 years later, in people who were over 100 years old. 90 years. The memory was still there. Your immune system is not just a defense force. It is a living, learning, remembering library of every battle your body has ever won. And it has been winning battles for you, silently, invisibly, perfectly, your entire life. Fact number 3. Your appendix is not useless. Science was wrong. For over 100 years, doctors told patients the appendix was a useless, leftover organ from evolution. Vestigial, pointless. The only thing it does is occasionally get infected and need to be removed. Science has since figured out they were completely wrong. Your appendix is actually a safe house for good gut bacteria. When you get a serious stomach illness, the kind that wipes out most of your gut bacteria, your appendix releases stored beneficial bacteria back into your digestive system to help it recover and rebalance. It's essentially a backup drive for your microbiome. Researchers at Duke University Medical Center published findings showing that the appendix is lined with tissue that supports immune function and helps maintain the population of good bacteria your gut depends on. Now, if your appendix gets infected and needs to come out, you'll be okay. Your body adapts, but calling it useless was simply wrong. This matters because it's a reminder. The human body is not poorly designed. We just haven't figured all of it out yet. Every time science has called something useless, the ear muscles, the tonsils, the wisdom teeth, we've later discovered those things had jobs we didn't understand yet. Your body knows what it's doing. Respect it. Fact number 4. Your gut controls your mental health more than your brain. Does you have heard of serotonin? The chemical responsible for your mood, your happiness, your emotional balance. Most people assume it's made in the brain. 95% of your body's serotonin is made in your gut. Not your brain, your gut. Your digestive system has over 100 million nerve cells, more than your spinal cord. And scientists now call it the enteric nervous system, or your second brain. This second brain communicates directly with your head brain through the vagus nerve. And here's the thing, most people don't know. The communication goes both ways, but the majority of the signals travel upward, from gut to brain, not the other way around. This means what you eat is not just affecting your body. It is directly affecting your thoughts, your mood, your anxiety levels, and your emotional resilience. Multiple studies now link poor gut health, caused by processed food, antibiotics, stress, and lack of fiber, directly to depression and anxiety. Your mental health is not purely a brain problem. It is a whole body problem, and it starts in your gut. This is why some of the most exciting new research in psychiatry isn't about new antidepressants. It's about probiotics, fiber, fermented foods, and gut microbiome health. What you eat for breakfast is having a conversation with your brain before you've even had your morning coffee. Fact number 5. Chronic sleep deprivation physically shrinks your brain. We live in a culture that treats sleep like it's optional, like staying up late is a badge of honor, like you can just catch up on the weekend. Here is what is actually happening inside your brain when you don't sleep enough. During sleep, your brain activates a system called the glymphatic system. Think of it like a cleaning crew. It flushes out toxic waste products that build up in your brain during the day, including a protein called beta amyloid, which is directly linked to Alzheimer's disease. When you don't sleep enough, that cleaning crew never shows up. The toxic buildup stays. Night after night, week after week, long-term sleep deprivation has been shown to cause measurable shrinkage in brain volume, particularly in areas that control memory, decision-making, and emotional regulation. The recommended amount is 7 to 9 hours for adults. Not as a suggestion, as a biological requirement. And here's the part that should alarm everyone. Research shows that people who are chronically sleep-deprived lose the ability to accurately judge how tired they are. You think you're functioning fine. Your brain disagrees. You are impaired and you can't feel it. Sleep is not rest. Sleep is maintenance. Your brain is physically repairing itself every night you get enough of it, and physically breaking down every night you don't. Fact number 6. Inflammation is the hidden root of almost every major disease: heart disease, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, cancer, depression, arthritis, kidney disease. These all look like completely different problems, different organs, different symptoms, different treatments. But researchers have found one common thread running through almost all of them: chronic inflammation. Inflammation itself is not bad. When you get a cut, inflammation is your immune system rushing to the scene to heal it. That's good. That's the system working. The problem is when that response never turns off. When your body is in a low-level state of immune alarm, constantly triggered by processed food, chronic stress, poor sleep, environmental toxins, and a sedentary lifestyle, that constant background inflammation starts slowly damaging your cells, your arteries, your brain tissue, and your organs over years and decades. And most people have no idea it's happening because chronic inflammation often has no obvious symptoms until it's already caused serious damage. The good news, and this is real, science-backed good news, chronic inflammation is largely reversible through lifestyle. Anti-inflammatory foods like leafy greens, berries, olive oil, and fatty fish, cutting back on processed sugar and refined carbs, regular movement, quality sleep, stress management. The most powerful medicine against the root cause of almost every major disease in America is mostly available at a grocery store. Fact number 7. Your heart has its own nervous system and can act independently. Most people think of the heart as a pump that the brain controls. Brain sends signal, heart beats. Simple. The reality is far more remarkable. Your heart has its own independent nervous system, approximately 40,000 neurons, that allows it to sense, feel, learn, and remember independently of the brain. The heart actually sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. It detects emotional states, responds to stress and safety, and sends information upward that influences perception, decision-making, and emotional experience. Research from the HeartMath Institute has shown that the heart's electromagnetic field, the field produced by its electrical activity, is the largest in the body. It extends several feet outside your physical body and can actually be measured, affecting the nervous systems of people in close physical proximity to you. When people talk about heart feelings, gut-level love, deep grief, heartbreak, they are not speaking metaphorically. There is a real, physical, neurological system in your chest that is processing the world and communicating with your brain in ways science is only beginning to understand. Your heart is not just a pump. It is an intelligent organ. Fact number 8. Most vitamins work completely differently than you think. Most Americans are genuinely deficient in vitamin D, and most have no idea. But here's the thing about vitamin D that your doctor almost certainly hasn't had time to explain. It is technically not a vitamin at all. It behaves like a hormone. It regulates over 200 genes in your body. It plays roles in immune function, mood regulation, bone health, cancer prevention, and inflammation control. The recommended daily amount set by the government was calculated decades ago, based primarily on bone health. Many researchers now believe that for optimal immune function and disease prevention, the requirement is significantly higher. And here's what's alarming. Vitamin D is produced when your skin is exposed to sunlight, and Americans spend most of their lives indoors. Studies estimate that over 40% of American adults are deficient in vitamin D. In winter months, in northern states, that number climbs even higher. Low vitamin D is linked to depression, weakened immune response, higher infection rates, and increased risk of several cancers. A simple blood test can tell you where you stand. Ask for it by name at your next appointment, because most standard blood panels don't automatically include it. And if you don't ask, you'll never know. Fact number 9. This one sounds dramatic. It isn't. It's biology. Your DNA has protective caps on the ends of each chromosome called telomeres. Think of them like the plastic tips on shoelaces. They protect the chromosome from fraying and damage. As you age, telomeres naturally shorten. When they get too short, cells can no longer divide properly and they die. This is a core mechanism of aging. Chronic stress accelerates telomere shortening. Research published in major scientific journals, including work by Nobel Prize-winning scientist Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn, has directly linked chronic psychological stress to faster telomere shortening. Meaning, chronic stress doesn't just make you feel older, it is literally making your cells older, faster. People with chronically high stress levels have been found to have telomeres equivalent to someone 10 years older than their actual age. Stress is not just a feeling, it is a physical force acting on your DNA every single day. The good news, the same research shows that meditation, exercise, quality sleep, and strong social connection can slow and in some cases partially reverse telomere shortening. How you manage stress is not a lifestyle choice. It is a biological decision about how fast you age. Fact number 10. Sitting all day is as deadly as smoking. Here is the final and most awaited fact. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic and multiple universities have studied what happens to your body when you sit for long periods. And the results are genuinely alarming. Sitting for more than 8 hours a day with no physical activity carries a risk of dying similar to the risks posed by obesity and smoking. Read that again. Similar to smoking. When you sit for long stretches, your blood flow slows down. Your body stops processing blood sugar efficiently. Your metabolism basically hits the floor. Fat-burning enzymes drop by up to 90%. Your blood pressure creeps up, and over years and years of this, your heart, your arteries, and your whole system pays the price. And here's the part that really gets people. Exercising for 1 hour in the morning does not fully cancel out 8 hours of sitting afterward. The damage from prolonged sitting happens in real time, throughout the day. It's not something you can just undo with a morning jog. The fix isn't complicated. Stand up every 30 minutes. Walk around for 2 minutes. That's genuinely enough to interrupt the damage. Your body just needs movement signals throughout the day, not just in one burst. But most Americans sit for 10, 12, sometimes 14 hours a day and never hear a word about it at their annual physical.